I've been trying so damn hard to make new music. I've been feeling sorta like lately I'm a loser.
So first, let's taste this mac and cheese.
Yes. Let's see. It looks so good.
So you know what cheese tastes like?
Yes.
This is bomb. This is bomb.
No, this is really good.
There's no dairy in this.
Yeah. That's appreciated because I'm lactose intolerant. So.
Right.
Someone gave it the notes on that already.
Right. I had to make sure. I had to check in. But so I know you guys have a lot of cool events and a lot of cool things coming up, like a tour that's coming up. You have shows coming up, Anson. You have a lot of things coming up for you as an artist, as a poet, as a writer. I mean, the list just goes on. How do you, Amanda, how do you introduce yourself? What do you usually tell people, or what do you showcase? Because you wear a lot of hats.
Thank you. That's a really good question. I think I'm kind of like, I do this and I do that. I don't really wear just like one title, and I don't really even know how to introduce myself yet.
Right.
So when people ask me, it depends on where we are and like what vicinity we're in, where I'll say, okay, this is what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
If it goes beyond that, that's cool too. But sometimes it doesn't go beyond that.
Right.
And it's kind of like my job to kind of like promote that through, my art and what I do put out there. But I am a spoken word artist. I do manage ANSON Raps. I put on an open mic every first Wednesday of the month at Sue the Joint. Really great West African and serves Nigerian food as well.
Yeah.
Like, the food is bomb.
So your joint is bomb.
So bomb. So that's not even a shameless plug because it's so good.
Right.
What else? I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. A lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Both boys, 14 and 10.
And that's a whole job.
That's a whole job. I'm dabbling into photography. I do social media marketing.
See what I mean? Like, see what I mean? It's like
some things.
I think that you're just really intact with all of your skill sets.
Thank you.
And you just use them well.
Thank you.
Some people just haven't come to know how, like, what they are good at or things that they enjoy. Or not even just like things that they enjoy, but like purpose, exactly. Like most people don't really know their purpose or don't know the range of their purpose or the capacity, that one has, like to be able to wear so many hats, to be able to showcase so many sides of oneself. And once you come to a place in your life where you're just like, oh, I'm good at this. Oh, I'm great at this. Oh, I can do this too. Oh, I want to learn more in this subject. I want to be better at this. Once you're like really dive into all your different skill sets, all of your different avenues, it's just like you have to be making a difference, Like, there's no way that you're not making a difference, at least in your community.
I hope so.
And definitely starting at home with your children.
Thank you.
And as a manager, that only pushes, I assume, you to like really explore to see, what else could I be doing?
Right. And I feel like to add on to the point you were saying about wearing many hats, like as you like explore different things, I feel like they all help each other in a lot of ways. Like, you realize like, oh, maybe I was trying to articulate something else in a different skill, but it's still really talking about the same overall thing that I'm kind of like leaning myself
right to. So like your mission doesn't change, like your purpose, the reason why you do it doesn't change, but now you get to do it through multiple artistic lenses instead of just one, which is really dope. So how do you introduce yourself?
For me, I always I kind of let them like fight each other at first. Because from like a young age I was writing music, and from a young age I was drawing pictures, so I didn't really think that they were even close to the same thing. But then like as I got older and I realized like I'm always gonna be a visual person, I'm always gonna be someone who's gonna write raps, and they're like both at like super like raw points, I guess, right now, and they have been for a long time. So because of that, I always thought they were separate, but now I realize like this video is actually answering this question that I couldn't like answer rapping. You know? So like when I first introduced myself to people, I would kind of like hide behind one of them at first. Like I would take pictures and I'd be like, I'm just a photographer. I didn't tell nobody I rapped for a long time, but I've been rapping for longer than I've done any video work. But like I learned that like after school. But I've always been a visual person, but a lot of people know me from one thing because I was hiding behind it. But now I feel like whatever I feel like I need to do, I'm just gonna do that, and I'm just gonna say I'm doing that, and whoever likes that will gravitate towards me. But I also use myself as like a guinea pig for different ideas, and I feel like both of us like different strategies for social media or different pictures. Or, like I think it's all a learning process for whatever we decide we're gonna do in like 10 years from now. We're learning the skills right now through like this like project, I guess. Yeah,
I think that your art and your music coexist together very beautifully, and I would say like genuinely. You know, whenever I see there was one video that you guys posted. You was releasing a song. I can't remember the name of the song. What's the name of the song? The video was shot at a laundromat.
Oh yeah.
And Amanda was like drinking this blue Gatorade in slow motion, and my partner and I was staring at that video. We were just like, what is this? What is the symbol? Like, what does this mean? Like, how is this symbolic? We're just like trying to study it. And in fine arts research or in arts research period, it's like there's always a visual. You saw the Beyonce and Jay-Z music video for Ape Shit.
Oh yes.
You know, whenever you use music and art, and whenever both of you guys do that and collaborate together, I feel like it forces people to do research, because you're doing all of this work through an artistic lens that's not like verbatim, like feeding people, you know, answers, or feeding people your critical thought process behind your creative process, you know, behind the process, or you know, you're not feeding it to them, but instead you're asking them to think about something and see it differently. And I feel like that's so powerful, because a lot of people in America, I feel, and even like African American people, sometimes we can get lost or stuck in what we think we know. And then it just takes one artist to make us see it differently. And then we go back and do research. We come to know new ways of being and walking through the world. And I just find that to be like so inspiring.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow.
But I also want to...
Wow. That was articulated beautifully, and wow. I don't even know. Thank you.
But do you agree though?
No, I totally agree to everything that you said, and I think that's part of like the partnership that Anson and I have, is that we both like look at things not just from like surface level, and we compare and contrast thoughts all the time together. Just because we understand like we like the same things, but our perspectives could be totally different. And like we always look at each other, at least I say more so me, looking at him as someone, if I didn't know him, what would I be thinking about him overall? Like what image is it that I see? Like what do I feel when I look at him? Or consume his art.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like he does a really great job with staying true to his vision and kind of like shushing out, like, whether it be outside influences or even just listening to other things, because he listens to a lot of music, but he stays very authentic and is willing to change and interchange like his sound and experiment, because it's for himself first before it's to the audience. And I think the strategy behind that, in a sense, to give it to the audience is more so give it to them in a puzzle piece where nothing is just what it seems up front. And to go back really quick to the laundry mat video, that's pretty much what it was. It was a thought. It was, yo, this would look dope if it was in slow motion, like picture clothes drying. And that was my real laundry. Like, that was a real ass laundry day. Like, all them dryers belong to me. They're definitely all of everybody's clothes. So, like, to have that, and I'm like, for real, like in a laundromat, bruh, and I'm like, I'm down, because like I'm always willing to like push the envelope and see like if we're actually gonna get in trouble for filming in some place, because I don't think they was having it for a little while, but it was cool. But yeah, like that was just a dope concept of like just seeing it in slow motion, and then we're like, well, what are we gonna do, because we're promoting Justin Clancy's album release that Anson was opening for. So we're like, okay, we're not gonna make this about like the show per se, but like let's do something that kind of distracts them, but it's funny. Like me and Anson have like really silly personalities. We've been called weird. We've been called strange. And we welcome all of that. Right. You know what I mean? That's cool. Like, whatever.
You guys seem really happy when I see you. So weird or strange, you guys seem...
We got that.
Yeah. So who takes the most risks out of the two of you?
That's a good question. I think both of us do. I'm
thinking about like what's like the biggest risk like both of us took,
like in music and art. Like,
what do you mean in general, or like?
I guess like in art and music, you guys filming at a laundromat is probably, or in these like places where you don't have permission.
The airport hangar. The airport hangar?
Oh yeah. This airport like loading dock, I guess. Like
I don't know what to call it.
It looked real cool though. Like I was just driving and
it was fire.
Sometimes we just be like, we both be driving like, oh, like, you know, take a picture and be like, yo, look, you gotta check out the spot. So I'm like mad hyped. I'm like, yo, like the spot is so dope. I'm like, yo, can you just come here like right now?
And y'all are so supportive. Like, Anson, you had a performance at Black Market for Black Picasso's show, and while you were performing, out of nowhere, Amanda busts through the crowd. She's like filming at one point, and then she like gives someone her camera, and she's just like busts through the crowd and just starts twerking. She's like, I don't care if I'm the only one twerking, I'm gonna twerk to this whole entire song and not give. And not have any cares in the world.
Day.
Like all day. And I've seen you do that like 3 times now. I was like, oh, she's gonna be lit. She's gonna show up and be lit for her man every single time.
Lit. And I really like that song. Like low key, it's like you gotta be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, little when you twerk, like.
One of the reasons that I wanted to have both of you on the show is that I think that there's a lot of millennials and a lot of artists, young artists, who are trying to do so much, but alone. You know, not feeling like they need people to like to be successful or to, you know, get somewhere in life. And I see how you guys work together like on a professional level, like and how much respect y'all have for each other's ideas and concepts and how they go hand in hand, you know. And I remember having a conversation with you, Amanda, about how you two approach certain projects or concepts differently. Like you kind of approach with like through a more of an emotional lens, and Anson, you focus more on the intent. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah. So you guys start with these two different ways of approaching or starting this new process. How do you guys meet in the middle?
I talk a lot all the time.
So I think right now we're actually like learning that right now. I feel like, because at first we just had like a lot of differences, but there was like, I feel like there was like beauty in some of the differences, and I feel like we were just asking the wrong questions. Right. And now it's more like, it doesn't have to be any kind of way. You know what I mean? Like, all right, what, you know, I have like a certain like way I process information, just because I like have like a art education, and everything is very like, it's just a concept that you kind of sit on, live on, and you throw stuff at the wall, and then like whatever sticks, you know, works. And like that's kind of like my way of going. And because Amanda is very emotional, like I at least I try to like know that and ask the right question, so like she can get really emotional about it, and I can like try to feed off that emotion, but at the same time we're still trying a bunch of stuff out and learning stuff in a more like processed way without realizing that we are at the same time. And that's what I feel like, that's how I try to work together.
Do you feel like you'll eventually go like the label route, or you still want to maintain this you want to maintain the freedom and that comes with being an independent artist?
Yeah, I like independence, only because I'm really interested in people that haven't went traditional ways. Like I'm really into like Nipsey Hussle. People know Nipsey. Like Nipsey, he's doing so much stuff with physical, but then also just like he understands his loop. Like how, like what's his value? Why people get it? Why would they ever come back? Like, he doesn't allow like any institution control that amount of like flow that he has. It takes a lot longer to do that. You know, a lot of artists, it just takes a while. But because I come from that art world, I'm interested in like learning how they do it with physical things. And like, you know, you could be a really huge fine artist, but like a lot of times it's like people came to your showing, and like that's how like you got that following. So like I'm interested in learning like those more on the ground level things as technology rises, and create experiences that I don't necessarily need, you know, certain platforms for. I'll still use it, but like all the information would come through like something that like the fan would want to choose. It's like the cool thing or my thing. If they think my thing is like my website, I'm saying, as far as thing goes, like yeah, come through. But if you don't want to come to the website, then we got other things. But just know that there's different content in different places, and like, you make your own choice. But yeah, I
mean, yeah. And also I was getting to the question of like, how do y'all feel like as a team y'all push up against like traditional ways of being artists and being a professional artist in this field? And you just answered that question. You know, there's so much fear going like the non-traditional route, you know, but there's so many millennials and young artists and youth who are thinking about being independent artists and may just not have that, like, they're not sure that it may work out in their favor.
But a label may not work out in your favor either. You know what I mean? Like, you can get dropped. Your project could get pushed back so much that you lose momentum. You can, what do they call that? Shelved. Like these things do happen with labels too. So I feel like either way you're taking a gamble in a sense, because you don't know if that record label is going to push you like they pushed you to release that Hot 100 Billboard single, and now you're washed in 5 years and you blew your advance and you didn't get the right contract and you didn't speak to an attorney. Like any of those things can like happen on a label side, just like it can happen on an independent side. I think the main difference for independent that they don't tell you is how hard it is. It's like, because this is a business and, you know, Anson is an artist, and there's times that we have to, you know, grind for and work really, really hard to like put on a show or to print T-shirts or to have merch, you know what I mean? Like, or any of those things. Or when we were doing the juicing at the Movement music video release party, when we did that, like the fruit that went into that, like everything you see is like generated from like us, you know what I mean? And I think it's really hard to be independent when you don't feel like you have like a really strong financial backing, and on top of it you still have to live. But those risks reward themselves have rewards within themselves, because not only do you learn lessons, but at the same time you also learn the business, you learn what not to do next time. You learn that you could actually do it bigger and better in different ways if you've managed your budget or you trim down on this. Like there's so many different mechanical things that go into, you know, everything that he does, for sure. You know, studio time and getting a band, finding a DJ for shows, traveling to shows. Like we drove to New York from South Carolina to make it to the Knitting Factory the last time. So it's like, these are like sometimes sacrifices that you make because we're tired. These are sacrifices you make. You know what I'm saying? We're tired. These are sacrifices that you make, you know, for the art and for the love of it, and it's fun. Like when we were setting up, we kind of like looked at each other like, yo, like a year ago we weren't doing this. You know what I mean? Like, and look at how far we. It feels more real. It feels
like you don't need to worry about what you don't have yet for your future, because as long as you're like walking in your truth, you know, and walking with purpose, it's gonna happen.
This is what the life is like you said. Like it is exactly what it is. Like if a bigger opportunity, we're chilling somewhere, could be anywhere, you know. He's going to Australia and somebody says fly back to the States for this, like you gotta outweigh, you know what I mean? Are you willing to jump on that and be about that life?
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. I'm willing to Australia.
Wait, can you say that a little louder?
Yeah. I'm gonna move to Australia in January.
Okay.
Yeah, Melbourne. I'm looking at
Just saying one more time.
Right. I'm going to Australia in January to Melbourne. I'm gonna be doing some crowdfunding to try to like get myself there. It's gonna be like a huge like push in kind of like the direction that I'm trying to base all this off of. So like I feel like we're building a lot of like real relationships in Boston that are probably gonna be here for a very long time. But I want to also go to a place like Australia, which is emerging. It's a really great economy and people have time to do stuff, and they appreciate rap because it's not that popular out there. So I want to go out there and like really build with a fan base while I'm young enough to take advantage of like a working visa. You can go to certain places in the world and you just get a job for 6 months. And I got a homie out there. He's from Africa, but he's been there for like 4 years and he got a record label. So hopefully I get to work at the record label. As much as I don't want to be in a record label, I kind of wonder what a record label would be doing in an emerging place. Because if you think about rap here in the 80s, a lot of people got played, but they were really dope people because they were doing it for non-money related reasons. So it's probably artists out there that have an opportunity to make that money, but they probably don't understand it yet because the world is changing. But I feel like I have somewhat of an understanding how this could work out for artists like me. You know, and a lot of other artists. So, you know, if I get there and I build with some people that make a festival or something like less let's build something into the way this works where we can fly people out and get people from Boston because I'm here. I am exposing Boston people to this place. So, hey, let me do a track with this artist and a Boston artist, and now let's see. Okay, let's talk about the data, and then we can talk numbers. Like, okay, now my homie, who's bigger than me in the States, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me, you know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm not here, so there's like
it's a bridge.
Yeah, it's a bridge.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Oh,
you got it.
Yeah.
You got this.
Well, there we have it. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having
being guests on Dinner with Key. We really appreciate it. And you guys get your forks and knives ready for next week. I have some more food coming your way.
Only one. Why do I feel like the? Why do I feel like the? Why do I feel like the only one? Why do I feel like the? Why do I